about you. We want to know. So about you on my show. We want to know. With today's special guest, Tanicia Pratt. Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another episode of We Want to Know. And today I have the pleasure of having a poet in the building with us who also just dropped a new book, which we'll get into later in the episode. But Tanicia is here with us. Let's clap it up for her. We're so, we're so. I'm so happy to have you here because I saw your work and I was just like, oh, she's so dope. And so first things first, like, how are you? I saw that you said you were in Nassau, so how was that over there?
So I'm doing good. Today is a pretty chill day because today I'm just like, I want to be very, very chill for this interview. Usually I drink coffee in the morning. Now I'm drinking like pineapple and ginger juice. I don't do that, but it's just to keep my nerves down. So I'm doing good. And Nassau is just right here being Nassau, hot as hell as it is. It's probably about to rain and then it's going to be hot again afterwards. But that's just life here.
That's good. So first things first, when did you start writing? Like, when did you say, like, this is what I like to do. This is therapeutic for me. I'm going to keep going with this.
That's a tough question. Well, it's not really tough. I feel like I've been writing since I learned how to write. I always used to like have notebooks. I'd make my mom buy notebooks and I'd make up my own little notebooks and I would just be like writing, oh, I hate my brothers. Oh, like I hate life. Like, why are my classmates like this? So I always would journal. And then when I learned about poetry, I would probably say, I don't know, maybe 12, somewhere around that time, I started writing poetry too. So I was always between journaling my thoughts and writing poetry. Yeah.
So when did you say, like, this is something I want to do long term?
I think the turning point for that was when I went to college. So like I said, I always would write, but it was just something therapeutic and I didn't know that it was possible to be an author, like to be a writer, because I didn't have I guess that circle of influence that encouraged me to do that. So it wasn't until I went to college, I started taking like a lot of English classes just because I was interested in the discussions that they were having. And I also joined a spoken word group at the time, is when I realized I wanted to write long term. Like I could do this. I could be on stage and I could perform forever. And like I love the energy, I love the crowd, and I love being able to be paid to get my words out and get my thoughts out there. So yeah, and I started college when I was, how old was I? I was about to be 19, so I was probably like 18. Yeah.
So I know you mentioned a little bit, just that you didn't really have that many people around you who also did it. But how was it when you like expressed to like your family and friends, like, this is what I'm doing, like I want to pursue poetry?
When I was in college, I don't think they took it seriously. Like, my parents are business people, they're into business and finance and sales. So when when my mom would probably like see me practicing my spoken word, it just is like, what is my daughter into? Anyways, whatever. Once she's going to college, I'm fine. So yeah, I think that at the time my mom always encouraged me to be artistic and creative, but I don't think they saw essentially the vision that I would make this long term and full time. I think they always saw, okay, well, she's expressing herself, like this will be a hobby or this will be something that she does part time, but she can really push herself doing business. And what I studied in college, I studied marketing. So essentially, I thought that I would get out of college and I would probably be like this big marketing director, for a big corporate organization. And I would do that. And then I would just have my poetry books that you could buy online. But now I'm doing it full time. And I think that my mom is really seeing what it could look like, what it is looking like. And I think that she is definitely on board. My dad, he's a bit harder to convince, but yeah, it's sort of the same with him. I think regardless, once they know that I'm doing what I love, they're gonna encourage me.
That's so amazing to hear, like how that transpired. And I feel like that's what a lot of parents do. At first, they're like, ah, whatever, and then they see you do it, and it's just different.
Right, right. Especially my mom. I think for her, when she started coming to my shows and then she started seeing other people, gather around me and say, your daughter is very talented. She's very talented. I think, I think that's sort of like, encouraged her and pushed her, with my dad. I think for him, it's more so like tangible. So it's like seeing the books and, seeing the jobs and stuff come in. He's a money man. So I think that he encourages me to pursue what I want to do, but he wants to make sure that I'm good and I'm making money.
Hey, you gotta have both. It's good to have both.
Yeah, definitely.
So I wanted to also talk with you about your project that you had posted a while ago on YouTube, Peninsula. I hope I'm saying that correct.
Quincyana, tell
Yeah,
me.
Quincyana. Yes, there we go. Quincyana. That I watched it. It was amazing. The visuals, everything. So how did that come about?
Um, so I initially wrote the poem in 2019. I was just coming outside of my apartment and I noticed that this barren poinciana tree that was always there inside the front yard. It was fully bloomed and just, it was just beautiful to look at. And I had never noticed it bloom since the Hurricane Matthew in 2016. So it just inspired me to like go to Starbucks and I just sat there and wrote a poem in Creole about this poinciana tree. Cause I think that especially dealing with nature and just dealing with the entire storm and everything, it felt like a parallel experience that I was having with this tree, where you're seeing this beautiful tree get stripped down and have to take time and hibernate and then bloom back to its full self, almost like a phoenix. And then I felt the same way around the same time, where it was like I felt very much like I was lacking something. I was looking for something, and I was starting to come out into my own, like I was starting to blossom. So that was what the poem is all about. And I had come back home from London in the end of 2020. Yeah. And I would say June 2021, I had noticed the poincianas, they were in season again and they were blooming. And everyone was just recording and taking pictures of the poinciana trees on my timeline. And I was like, someone needs to make a film about this. And during that time, I was working on Blue and I was having writer's blocks. So I said, you know what, let me see if I could somehow like transmute this energy into film and see if I could find some creativity there. Um, And that's what I did. I worked with 6-7 Multimedia, and we came up with this really cool idea in terms of costuming and just the storyboard and the visuals, and Quincyana came about. So we recorded that over the summer of 2021, and then we dropped it in the fall.
That it's definitely go check it out if y'all haven't already. Make sure you go check it out. It's amazing. So I know you speak about like it relating to your blooming process. So how important is it for you as a poet to be transparent in your work, like with what you're going through? Because I know you also talk about mental health online as well.
Hmm. I think to me, it's very important to be transparent. Um, it's not for everyone though. Like, I don't think it's a cause for everybody to champion. I would always, I was always in and out between telling my stories, but then also being like very figurative and vague so as to not have people look at me and sort of judge me for what I went through. But I like transparency because I think that to me it keeps the heart open. It keeps me vulnerable. It keeps me soft, and it keeps me always open to giving and receiving love. So yeah, I think that's the main reason why I like to maintain transparency, and I think that's why it's good to always maintain that as a poet. To me, I think that the difference between poets and other writers, like fictional writers, is that we we have the ability to be able to be as emotive as possible. And um, I guess if you're not being emotive when it comes to other stories or other external situations around you, then why not be as emotive as possible when it comes to your own story? Um, you would have to give that story, in my opinion, more justice when it comes to that. So that's my 2 cents.
No, that was amazing. Because yeah, I do notice some people, they are a little bit more willing to share, and others, they don't. But the work is still good. But I just appreciate it, that you're always so willing to talk about, what you're going through in your work. And really quick, before we get into our game, I kind of just wanted to, because it is Mental Health Awareness Month, so I just wanted to talk about like mental health for you and how important that is. Do you think, especially as a poet, when you are just like writing away, like how important is that?
It's super important. Um, I wrote I wrote Blue in a time where my mental health was I was trying to get to a point of healing. Um, so initially, the initial manuscript, it was very, 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 very raw, very emotional. It was just, it wasn't completely curated. It was just pure thought and emotion. It was just me trying to get the thoughts out and being able, there is something about getting something out of the mind and mechanically like translating that onto paper or on your computer that is so satisfying. And then when you get to read that back, take a break, probably edit it, it gives you a lot of time of reflection and meditation that I think is really important. You see, even with my earlier journalings and stuff, I always felt like understood in a sense, even if no one heard it. I I had taken it out of my head and I had put it on a thing. Now I could figure out what to do with the thing. Um, so it's just a release as a poet, as a writer, um, to be able to tell your stories. But this is not to say that writing is the only form of therapy or the only form of meditation. So before I put out Blue and before I completed the manuscript, I made sure to begin therapy sessions and to deal with a lot of the anxiety, a lot of the perfectionist attitude, behaviors that I had, a lot of the fears that I had, and a lot of the emotions that I needed to unpack to make sure that I wasn't re-traumatizing myself through poetry, because that can be a thing. It can be a thing where we re-traumatize ourselves and we, instead of using writing for healing. So that was very important for me. So in terms of writing and mental health, I think that initially just getting that first draft out, just journaling your thoughts is important. But then therapy is also important. Being able to voice that is important. So it's something going on with the throat, with the heart, and mechanically with the hands, that happens when you're able to get your thoughts and feelings out there.
Yeah, that was amazing what you said about like the re-traumatizing thing, because that happens even just like when people are watching a video or something. It's just, it can trigger you. So yeah, it's really important that if you're going through something, make sure you're seeking some kind of help, or figuring something that works with you, coping mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for speaking on that. We're gonna play this quick game, and then we're gonna talk more about Blue, your brand new book. But first, we're gonna hit this game that I like to call "We Also Want to Know," geared after our season 1 of We Want to Know. And basically, is I'll ask you a few questions. Some of them random, really, really random, and then other ones are like, okay, they make sense. So the first one, we're gonna go like, who's your favorite poet?
Oh my God. Oh, why did you ask me that? Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, so disclaimer, I'm a Gemini. Okay, so I don't even have a favorite color. Okay. So oh Lord. Who's my favorite poet? Do I have like a timer on this?
No.
Oh man. Okay, so maybe I could go with who is my favorite poet right now.
Yeah. You can do that.
Okay, so who's my favorite poet right now? I would have to say Safia Sinclair. Safia Sinclair is a Jamaican writer. I think she's based in the States right now. But her work is just beautiful. I read Cannibal. I probably read it like 4 times already. And I love her lyricism. I just love the way she paints words. She's beautiful. So
that's dope.
With Safia Sinclair.
Next
now.
Right now. Maybe like in 2 months, yeah, I might change.
It might change. Right.
So next one, favorite poem, or like the poem that's most inspired. Would you say it was the one that you mentioned?
Favorite poem by Safia Sinclair. Okay, no, that's why I got to get my book out, because I'm not good with names. I am not good with names, but Catacombs.
Catacombs.
Yeah.
Got it.
I like Catacombs. I like Mermaid. And yeah, I'll go with those for now.
For now. So this is when it just kind of it tears off a bit. So first, if you could be in any movie, what movie would you be in?
If I could be in any movie, what movie would I be in?
Yeah.
I think I'd be in Fast and Furious. Just because, yeah, I think I'd be in Fast and Furious. My favorite was always Tokyo Drift.
Tokyo
Drift is probably my favorite. I would probably be in that, or I'd be in like a martial arts movie. One of my favorites is like House of Flying Dragons. House of Flying Daggers. So yeah, Tokyo Drift, if they decide to go back to Tokyo, or if they decide to do another form of that, Fast and Furious.
Cool. Tokyo Drift is fire. I think everyone can agree, like that's one of the best ones.
Yeah, because I just want to be like a badass, just sitting in a car, in like a souped up sports car. Yeah. or I want to be like fighting someone and like do cool stunts. Like I want to be like a stunt man.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
If you could live anywhere, where would you live outside of where you live now?
Oh, so many places. So many places. So I definitely would like to live. I don't want to say that. I feel like that's so cliche. That is super cliche. I have many places that I want to live, but definitely I've always wanted to probably live in Japan for about 2 months. Yeah.
Right there, right? Yeah, totally. That's me.
Yeah.
Every time it's crazy because like you're not the first because I think I've asked this question before on here and other people have said Japan too and I'm like yes, let's all go.
Yes, let's all of us go to Japan and live there. Yeah, so I would want to live there. I have also been looking at Ghana. So
Oh my god.
Ghana, Japan, Brazil.
It's like you're in my brain. It's like you're in my brain. I've been talking about this for like the last month, like month or two, that I
Right.
want to go to Ghana. So that's crazy.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
so beautiful from what I've seen, like the videos and stuff. I'm like, ugh.
Yes, like my dream is to just be able to live in different pockets of the world for a few months and then just pick up and go somewhere else. I want to be like, there's also a part of me that wants to like, like have a silk head scarf over my head and, like I'm speaking Spanish and I'm in like Colombia or something, drinking coffee. There's another part of me that's speaking French and like Martinique. So I just want to be everywhere.
Yeah.
But Japan is probably the first one that I'd go for.
That is so dope. Okay,
Yeah.
now this is weird. This is one of the questions. Do you think fish get thirsty?
No, I don't know because it's just no. Why would they get thirsty? I mean, if anything, I feel like they'd get hungry. Oh, so think of it like this, right?
Yes.
So like we are living, like we're surrounded by air, like we're humans surrounded by air, and we most of the time we get thirsty, like we
Mm-hmm.
have an urge to drink something because for the most part we're not thinking about breathing in air because
Mm.
it's everywhere. So a fish, I imagine that water is like breathing air. So if anything, they're just like hungry, or they might notice when the water doesn't have enough air. Like, am I being scientific about this? Am I? I don't know. I don't know. I am not a scientist, but
Okay, so this is another one.
yeah.
Okay, so do you think if anything is possible, it's still possible for anything to be impossible? The face change?
Okay, so you repeat that.
Do you
Okay.
think, okay, right? If anything is possible, it's
Mhm.
still possible for anything to be impossible
Yeah.
because anything's, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, definitely. Because anything's possible.
right?
That's all I that's all I have to say.
This is the last question, and it's another random one. So, lastly, if you punch yourself in the face, right, due to an emotion, are you weak or strong? Like if you're angry at yourself and you punch yourself in the face, would you consider that weak or strong?
What?
Because they say like
Why
it's
would I do
hard for
that?
anyone to cause pain on yourself, like natural pain, like it takes a lot. So if you punch yourself and it hurts, are you weak or strong?
Um, do I get back up after I punch myself? Like, do I have to go and lay down and like, like ice pack my face for like 30 minutes?
Probably
Or do I
so.
just like pick up and go to the grocery store? Like, what do I do after?
That's good. I honestly don't know.
I would say strong. I would say strong.
Yeah, totally.
It's not sadness.
Definitely strong. So now let's think. Well, that's been our round of. We also want to know our amazing game. So thank you for playing that. So
Yeah,
now we're gonna get into the questions about Blue. So first off, why the name? Why the title Blue?
because it was all I could think of. Um, it was just the color that was on my mind before I even decided that I would write it. I remember like in my archives, I had made a post and I was like, I'm thinking of the color blue because it's the only emotion that I feel, something along those lines. Um, and so when I was looking to write a book, initially this was not the book that I wanted to write. I wanted to write something a bit more external, just talking in general about female sexuality, Black female sexuality. And in that process of doing that or not doing that, because I wasn't inspired to write it at all, um, I had just something on my heart just said, this is not what you want to write. What is it that you really want to say? And that's when I decided I'm going to write Blue. Like I already knew what the title was going to be. So Blue is, I feel like the answer changes every time someone asks what this book is about. But Blue is, it's about, it's my story about love, about heartbreak, about trauma, about family, about the body. So it's my own blues. It was my way of creating a collection of poetry that speaks about the things that you're personally going through, but then also the things that you may be going through socially, the things that you may be going through with the family, and how all of it is connected to this one feeling. I don't like to call it sadness because I don't think that blue as a color is just sadness. Um, Blue has a serenity to it. Blue has a healing essence to it. Blue can be very innocent. It can be very nurturing. Um, so when in my idea of writing Blue, it was just to be able to write poetry that has sadness to it, but at the end of the day, it is beyond that. It is something bigger. It's feelings that you can't explain. So yeah.
So I saw that you said it took you 3 years to write it, if I'm not mistaken. So did you going into it? Did you think it was going to take you that long, or like how did you just know that that's how long it was going to take, or you just kind of let the process go?
I let the process go. When I started writing the book in 2019, I wanted to be finished by the end of summer. Like I had already had the book cover by that time. I had everything ready and prepped to go. And then um, in August, my relationship ended. And I just was so exhausted. I was exhausted from late nights writing poems in the gas station. I was exhausted with the process of writing the book, and I was just exhausted with life. So I needed a break. And then September, Hurricane Dorian hit, and I think the whole country stopped at that time. And I was still I was in a state of depression or numbness again. So I felt like Blue wasn't finished. Like I knew Blue wasn't finished. So I went to school later that year. Um, I was struggling with moving, that expansion, new place. new curriculum, new course, and navigating that, and then the pandemic. So I had written new poems here and there, but it wasn't really until 2021 when I picked back up again and I started to really curate the manuscript, edit, write more poems, create chapters, like figure out what the movement of the book would be like. So most of the writing happened in a span of June, July, like about 3-4 months. And then there was a period of just lull. And then I came back and I wrote again and fixed everything in the last year.
That's wow. It's a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So sometimes you just have to let the manuscript go, because a lot of times we want things to come out when it's not their time, it's not their time, it's not their season, and you don't understand it because you desperately just want this idea to be birthed in the world. And I can't tell you like how long I wanted to publish this. I wanted to publish this in 2021, but it just wasn't ready. So I had to trust that process, and I had to figure out other ways to be creative and to see, I guess, what I could do to support it when it's ready.
So the next question I had for you, because I know for the part of the book you spoke of it kind of like as if it was your child, like how you felt about like motherhood and stuff, which I think is so relatable. A lot of people are just like really nervous about that idea, but it's something you want, but it's like I don't know if I'm ready for that. And how you treated this book, almost like that. So how was that process like finding your way? I guess as a book mom, so to speak.
A book mom, I like that. So how was the process in terms of nurturing?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, it required a lot of patience, a lot of time, a lot of care, like even just taking time to look at one particular poem and saying, I don't know, I don't like how this line is. I'm gonna sit with this and see how I can rewrite it. Even just looking at curate how I formatted it, how I edited the chapters, and figuring out, okay, what poem goes here? Okay, I'm putting this here. What needs to come after that? It took a lot of time, and it took a lot of patience, and it took a lot of love. And I love blue. I love blue like it could be my child, because I put a lot of attention into it, to make it the best book that she could be. So that was sort of the process for that.
So also, I know you said like you were very hands-on during this entire process. So how was that? Do you foresee yourself being as hands-on moving forward? Like when you put out another book, do you think you would do that again?
I hope not. I really honestly hope not. And when I told my friends that I was working on a book, a lot of them asked me, well, why don't you submit it to a publisher? And I said, no, I want to do it on my own. And so initially, like, my idea was just to focus on the editing and have someone else deal with the formatting. Of course, the book designer, which is Wild Logic, she did a great job with the book cover. But when it came to the formatting, I had caught like a freelancer on Fiverr, and she was not working out at all. Like the manuscript I got back was not what it looks like today. And although it cost me stress to learn and figure out how to do this, I'm happy with what I have. So yeah, I don't think that I'm going to do it in the future, my goal was to, for my first book, I want to be able to know what the process is like as a self-published author, um, understanding global distribution, understanding the business of it, the designing aspect, and then hopefully for the next book, um, a publisher, I can be able to work with a small publisher, and put out another piece of work, and they can focus on that aspect. And then maybe for another book, I'll work with a big publisher. So I'll be able to know what the difference is between each style of publishing. Yeah.
It's like never again.
Yeah. No, yeah. Not never again. I will never say never, but I probably in the future, I would probably want to take a bit more of the manual labor off of my hands.
Makes sense. So lastly, what advice do you have for that aspiring voice that wants to develop a book but not sure if they should or how to start?
I guess I would say YouTube is your friend. YouTube and Google, they are your two best friends. Like if you don't know where to start, how to start, you can completely go there and figure out what are the first steps. Be open to learning. Um, if you would want to put out works, definitely see if you can get yourself an editor, or even just a supportive group of friends who are writers, who can be where you can be able to read each other's work and edit and give proper critiques. I think that that is important. Um, but yeah, like anything is possible, not in the sense that anything is possible, that it's not, that something is impossible. But anything is honestly possible. So just be open to guidance, be patient with yourself, don't feel like you need to rush it. If you can seek out people, um, if you can seek out constructive criticism, that's important. Definitely seek that out, and yeah, and that's it. And just give it your all.
Dope advice. Make sure if that's you, make sure you're listening and you use it and you apply this advice.
Yeah.
Um, lastly, first, how can the people find you? How can the people purchase Blue and just keep up with all that you have going on?
So Blue is everywhere now. So you can find me on Instagram at Nefernici, Nefernici. But if you would like to purchase Blue, you can just go to my website, taniciapratt.com, or if you're in the United States or the Bahamas. But if you would like an unsigned copy of Blue, like Amazon is there, all of the other, it should be on all of the other global distribution sites worldwide. So you can purchase Blue there.
That's amazing. I know I'll be getting my copy this week, so don't you worry. I'll be getting my copy this week.
Yes,
But thank you
definitely.
for tuning in. Well, not tuning in. Thank you for everyone who's watching. Thank you for tuning in. But thank you for being here with us and sharing, this moment with you.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me. Just wishing you all the best with your platform. I love it so far. You're doing so good.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, I'm happy to be on your show.
Thank you so much. Well, that wraps up this episode of We Want to Know. So make sure you guys are go following her. All her links will be down in the description below, so you could find her anything there if you missed it. And yeah, make sure you guys are coming back for the next episodes, following, and make sure you liking this video, subscribing, and hitting my notification bell to be notified every single time a new episode drops. But until then, see you later, everyone. Bye.
Bye, guys.